I mean, you obviously have, you're doing it in real time a lot in your, both with your students, and you're holding space for them, as well as doing it with your mentor and your group. So you're holding space for it. And I was just being really transparent then. Like, I haven't held space for doing channeling in a long time. I like to be really transparent about that. But having you there was just made the container. It's just like everything just kind of came in and grounded and just came through. So
it was really cool. It was really neat. And I love how both of us bring through our core guides first.
Yeah.
And you and I know them. We're used to seeing them. Like, we're like, oh yeah, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But maybe we talk a little bit about why they like to come through.
Absolutely. That's a great question. Well, I'll say for myself, I think it's a stabilizer too, and it sets up the structure, because when we work with our guides regularly, as we always do, they're used to having us, they're working as we are working. So we have that relationship with them, that they set the space up for us, that they anchor and help our vibration. Lorenda, you talked about this so many times so well. And they're the prep team. They're kind of like, if we're the talent, right? And then also exactly. And just saying, and we're the speaker, and they're the ones who set everything up and make sure you've got your drink, the lighting is right, everything's right with your energy. And then when the spirits come in, or the entities, or the goddesses, the beings, then it's just everyone's working in tandem. It just makes everything go more smoothly. And also especially because you and I are working mediums, that we can transition quite quickly into having spirit come through really strongly. That's my impression. What about you?
Same.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you like that really long answer? Same.
Say ditto. You could have said ditto. Well, I'm going to be I know I was telling Lorenda I'm a little slow. I just 2 minutes ago put myself live on my own YouTube channel, but hey, here we are. Hi, everybody. As we can tell, we're here, holiday weekend, and we are talking about trance channeling and working with our guides, our primary guides, before we start doing this work, because they help us set our spaces up. They get our energy ready. They set the stage. They help us also connect with the guides that we're going to be channeling, which I have no idea who's coming in either. I can definitely feel.
And I said that right as we were ready to log on. I was like, oh, well, I feel my energy shifting.
Yeah.
But that's not true. A random name popped in my head earlier.
Oh boy.
So I'm interested to see if that's actually who comes through, or if it's a name that is just similar. You see what I mean? Like, because it was interesting. I'm like, maybe an hour ago, I was like, oh, I got to get my act together. I need to get in my zone.
Yeah.
Thinking about pulling myself together. And I was like, what is coming through today? And I did. I got a little blink of a name. And I was like,
I know.
Is that legit?
I know. It'll be interesting to see what we end up getting. And Lorenda and I both were like, and this is why it's good, she's the battery for me and I'm the battery for her, because we were both like, oh, it's been a long holiday weekend, a little tired, but we're like, we were going to get psyched as soon as.
No. Did you do anything fun for 4th of July?
Well, for 4th of July, yay. For 4th of July was, just really briefly, a dear friend of mine, who Renata, her daughter, I've known, our kids grew up together since they were in preschool. And, they're both very connected to Germany, because her husband's German. They go back and forth all the time. And her daughter's moving. She just finished undergrad at University of Toronto. And so she's moving to Germany. So I went to their house for a couple hours during the day on my own, hung out with the ladies and got to see her, Ella. And then, we just literally hung out. We have, from our view in Portland, we have a beautiful view. So we get to see a lot of fireworks from our house. So we never go anywhere, because
you wouldn't have to, right?
Yeah. So we
did too, from our friend's house. It was the same. We were like, we're just going to sit out here on the back patio.
Oh, it's so much fun. And just watch everyone's fireworks. I loved it. And then last night was fun, because my son's he has a band, and they play. This was the first time we've seen them live, because it was the kind of thing. He goes, "It's not a dive bar, Mom. It's a little bit nicer." I go, "Okay." It was so good. He's an amazing musician. He's been playing since he was very young. So in the band, they're very tight. They play all original music. It was fun. It was really fun. So that's been my weekend.
I love that.
Yes, lots of walks.
Yeah, I didn't do a lot of walks. I just enjoyed my friends, and it's crazy. Yesterday I laid in bed for a really long time. I mean, I was awake, and actually I got up so I could help my husband. Like he needed sleep. And he was like, "Do you mind getting up with the dog?" I'm like, "No problem. I'll do that." But then I ended up just kind of hanging out, zoning out, laid back in bed, read a book, which I hadn't done for weeks, really, getting into this book. And it was cool. It was just a nice, relaxing, much needed.
Yeah.
Day.
I love that so much. I know, it's exciting. I mean,
and you and I are kind of workaholics.
We are workaholics.
We're like, "Oh, look, we have 30 minutes. I'm gonna make some Pinterest pins. I think we're gonna let's do that. Let's figure this out." And I made I did work yesterday a little bit, and then I worked a lot today.
Yeah,
editing music. So this is why. Oh, this will be interesting.
She's got her pen.
It's really interesting because. Okay. All right.
You're coming.
I think I'm getting some validation.
Well, and the other thing I just have to also tell you is I've been working a lot with Mary Magdalene, and she's been really saying to me, you just need to be, you have to learn how to just be. And being doesn't mean doing. They're not the same thing. There's being present, and not doing. And it's very important. And that sounds so simplistic, but in its essence, she kind of gave me what the imprint feels like. And so I do feel, even though I have moments of do I need to be doing something? But then she's really you have to get into the subtlety. You really, really have to. So.
And I think that's hard for people like you and I too, because because we're workaholics too. And we get smart, we get things done, and we love the end result.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's okay just to be. But I think generationally we were, if I said to my mom, "I don't know, I'm kind of bored," or "I don't have anything to do right now," she'd be like,
"Here's your list, sister. Get it going." Yeah. It was like, "Listen, say that to me, and here we go."
Right.
So I got you can clean out in the backyard if you want.
Yeah, we got lots of things that you can do. So I learned that if you had space, that was bad. You were being wasteful of time. You were being, but sometimes my husband walked in, and usually he's pretty side-eye judgy, but I was still laying on the bed, just reading my book. And he's like, "Is it just a stay in bed kind of day?" And I go, and I felt guilty for a second, and I go, "It might be."
Yeah.
Exactly. At least until I'm done through this part of the book, because this is really good.
It's a good book. I love that. Well, that's good. And also that is really part of the recalibration of divine feminine, divine masculine. It really, really is. It's getting back into center and not letting that guilt and the programming and that patriarchal masculine, which tells you you're not enough. You're not doing enough. You're not valuable enough. That's right. Kind of looking that in the face. So good stuff.
And I think as women, we tend to feel like we have to prove our worth at all times.
Yep.
And I'm finally at that age where I'm like, or I don't.
Or I don't.
Or I don't. And what I find is the more circling this back to doing what we're doing tonight, what I find is sometimes I am a better channeler. I'm a better medium. I have to allow spirit to work on me, especially on a day like today when I know we're going to be doing trance. I did get stuff done. I got a lot done today, but I did it on the deck where it was warm outside and the dog was chilling with me, and like,
so much
fun stuff. It was fun, creative things. And then as I came down here, got in my zone, I'm like, and I said right before we went, I'm like, oh, I'm getting buzzy.
Yeah, you just, and we should, and then we saw each other. That was good.
Yeah, didn't have to try.
I'm excited. So how many people do we have in joining us at the moment?
We've got a whole 15 people watching
15
us.
people. We're so excited you're here. So we should do, in case anyone just joined us, let's do a quick recap of what are we doing here tonight?
What are we doing? Go ahead. You talk. You tell them.
So tonight we are doing, so this is my friend Lorenda Carr, psychic medium and mentor. Also is an amazing past life regressionist, as well as psychic reader, tarot reader, mentor. My name is Carrie. I'm also a medium and a mentor, and I'm a Magdalene Rose priestess, and I work a lot with the divine feminine and balancing out your energy, more to come about that, and development as well with the Akashic Records and intuitive development. So here we are tonight. But tonight, what Lorenda and I are dedicated to in our broadcast, we're meeting every 2 weeks. So we will be meeting we'll put a calendar out. We'll do it this week, we promise. But hello. So we're always meeting. We're meeting approximately every other Sunday at this time frame, 5 p.m. So put it in your calendar, mark it, and make sure also, please, if you guys, before we get started, make sure you subscribe to both our channels. It really helps our channels grow and get seen, and it helps us give this content out for absolutely free if you support our channels. And also go back and watch our videos, because we spend a lot of time creating content for education. I do a ton of readings. Lorenda does a ton of stuff. So it would help us tremendously if you could go. And if you're watching this later, thank you for being here. So all those things really help on YouTube and the algorithm. But tonight we are doing trance channeling. And if you're new to trance channeling, essentially, I'm going to let Lorenda explain it because she's so good at that. But what we're going to be doing is bringing through guidance messages, and we're really literally going to be allowing these beautiful beings and entities to come through our vessel and channel messages that are going to help inspire, help to guide us and heal us. So there's so many things why. But I'm going to let Lorenda explain actually what trance is, the difference between trance mediumship and, say, conscious channeling.
Thank you so much, Carrie.
You're so welcome. We're also very good friends. So there is that. And so if we get silly, you're welcome.
We do. But you're welcome. You're welcome for the witnessing of the show. So yes. So really quick, if you've never experienced or witnessed trance channeling, I want to explain the difference between what you might see on social media or videos that when people are like, I channeled a song today. I'm like, oh, were you singing? Like in my brain, I'm like, oh, were you singing the song? Like, no, there's a difference between mediumship, channeling, or inspirational speaking and trance. And what we are truly working on today and during in our time together is we are actually doing more trance than I know we call it the channeling experience. However, what we're doing is we're inviting entities to flow through us and deliver information that is helpful as a collective. Okay. Now, mediumship information comes in, but it's still me, the human, Carrie, the human. We're discerning what to say, how to say it. It's our interpretation or it's our delivery. Okay. Our conscious delivery. Channeling is when information comes into our brain, like it siphons in, and then it comes out of our mouth, but we're not really allowing it. We're saying that we are repeating the stream of consciousness. Okay. Whatever's coming into our consciousness, we are saying whatever this is, right? But it's still us hearing, seeing, feeling it, right?
Yep.
We're just allowing the information to flow through. Trance channeling, which is what we're going to be doing today, is when the spirit steps in, blends their energy with ours, and uses our vocal cords to to actually speak, right? And to deliver information, to deliver lessons, or like we had, oh my gosh, last week, the entities that came through were just like
unbelievable.
It was crazy. It was crazy cool. And even you and I were just mind blown. Now, what was cool though, is I think both of us, I think it's a fair thing to say that when we were holding battery for one another, so say when you were in trance, I'm allowing spirit to guide my questions. Hi, Jen. So I was allowing, so my questions were channeled.
Mm-hmm.
I get, because a lot of stuff, because I was like, I hadn't even thought of that. Good one. But I was not in right on. But I was not in trance. There was no transfiguration there. It was the stream of consciousness saying it, and it just made me look real freaking smart.
Yeah.
But it was my guides in invoking my natural curiosity and to asking questions, where when we're in trance, our conscious mind is aware of what's happening, but we're not active participants in it.
Right.
And by the time we come out of it, by the time that entity steps away or that spirit steps away, we might remember, just like a dream, we'll remember in the moment, but it'll fade like a dream.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to actually go back the next day and rewatch.
Yes.
Because I'm like, wait, what did we say?
Yeah.
That was cool. And I was just mind blown. And even then, and I know even when you were in trance, I realized, this is what made me realize I was channeling those questions. They were not my thoughts. I always think they're my thoughts, but my guides are like, oh, that's cute. She thinks she's smart. And they'll like funnel these things through my head. But I remember watching it going, I don't think I remember Carrie saying all those things.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because you and I are both in that, but we're also both in that energetic state. And our guides will help us adjust. They will adjust our vibration to receive information. And the more you do it, and I think you can attest to this, Carrie, the more you do trance, the easier it is to just step right into it. We kind of function in this space all the time where if I'm out in the wild, I might be like, listen, I don't need you people telling me what to do, right? But so my guides don't really step in. I don't have entities that step in or anything like that typically, or sometimes they do. And I'm like, hey, listen, I don't know if you know this, but I'm off duty.
Yeah.
We're welcome to hang, but we're not doing anything. We're not communicating. But for the most part, like you and I are good about having our boundaries.
Yeah, for sure.
When we sit down intentionally, our guides are like, game on. And they'll adjust the vibration to be able to receive whatever spirit is wanting to come in.
Yep.
So if it's a higher deity, tell me how you feel. So when you're getting ready to channel one of your guides versus Ashira, was that who?
That was Ashira. Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel different vibrationally between the two spirits?
You know what's so funny? I do, but it doesn't happen to me literally until they're in. Like it's like they come in, I get the name and then I'm in. That's how it happens for me. It's not so much it's so-and-so. I don't get that yet. I don't know why. I don't know why that is. And
that could be because you're very trusting. You trust your guides not to throw some weirdo in there.
Yeah.
And it's mine too, but I like to experience the transition.
I get that. I can see why. And that probably would be a good thing. I think it's also too, typically, because I work so much with different entities on a regular basis in my practice. So the way it works for me is first I get their name and then we're off and having our conversation. So it is more that conscious channeling. Mm-hmm. Like I know who it is and then I get it, but it's the energetic of their signature doesn't until they're closer and I'm doing that now. Now, that's really what I think is the difference probably for me, when I can tell it's a masculine or, or the what their being is like, like I say it, how intellectual Ashira is like, and her personality has so much of that, a science-based energetic, almost kind of very non-binary for me, not really even super feminine to me.
just very, and I will say, it's very important people to know. I channeled a snake.
I know.
Last week. And it also teetered on, is this feminine or masculine?
I know. Yep.
It was just it was a good balance and didn't feel feminine or masculine. It just felt like a snake.
I want to say before we get started, for those who are here hanging out and who knew. So, as you know, Ashira is the name of who I channeled last time, and also I've known her to be. She's not one of my guides that I feel like she's some part of my soul family. However, I just read literally yesterday, because I'm doing a ton of work. I'm reading When God Was a Woman. I'm reading, I have a whole list of books I'm going to read as I'm starting my program for the Priestess Path, because I want to be very well versed and I want to know. And do you know what one of the original goddesses was who Isis actually prayed to?
I'm going to guess
name.
Shira.
Yes. I just fucking read that today, which is part of historical significance. So I was like, y'all,
I know. And I think that's why I like not knowing who's coming through, because I can't be all like, well, I wonder if that's a legit.
Right. You're like, if you know so much, then you can definitely.
Right. But I can go back afterwards and go, oh, I wonder if that snake actually exists.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's an actual name. Turns out it is.
Yeah, and we found that. Yeah, that's what's interesting about it too. And I think the repertoire, I think knowing it sometimes too, also in some ways, once you know what it is, then you can expand upon it, so that when you're getting, that's like Daryl Anka, who channels Bashar. He is incredible how much he now also has. His bandwidth for information is extensive, because he's worked so much with scientists and physicians and things. So, but it's because of the channeling. It wasn't like he knew it intellectually. It was a block. He has been evolved through the channeling. And I kind of feel like that's what happens for us in this.
I agree. I agree. And I can feel, the more I do trance mediumship, even just mediumship in general, but when you blend with higher entities and higher vibration entities like that, it structurally does change you, but I feel like in a positive way, not in a.
Well, it's expanding your consciousness. It's expanding your limited, and that's why you have to prepare your vessel. I mean, that's why you have to, you probably have gone through lots of cleansing, lots of adjustment, lots of when I called you when I was in Seattle and I was having all those anxiety attacks, 6 weeks ago, was that?
Yeah,
how long was that? And then you've had the different things that you have gone on through this entire last year. I mean, we've had adjustments, attuning adjustments, and all of you are probably going through those experiences yourself as you're learning to bring in spirit closer to your life. That's what will happen. So, but that's how we all evolve together. It's that's how, when we're closer to that information, we learn through the experience. That's what's so important. So I have no idea who's going to come in today either. I've gotten little things, but I'm almost like, don't tease me until you know who's coming in. I'm just like,
right. Well, I have two names that popped in. I'm like, but they're so different.
Oh, but isn't that fun?
And so I'm just going to, I feel like I'm getting that. Well, it could be either one of these. I'm like, all right, whatever.
All right. I'm getting my pen and paper out so I can ask you questions.
But now I will say, so when I take trance mediumship class, I just had trance mediumship class. When I take trance class, one of the things that our mentor has told us, especially if you're nervous, by the way, for those of you learning trance or kind of, diving into this and like, ooh, do I want to do that? Oh, that sounds scary, because you're allowing a spirit to blend in your energy, which, I guess some people might consider that possession. I actually had someone reach out to me and say, I keep slipping into trance. I'm being possessed. I'm like, I'm not the girl for you. Not it, because that's not how
conditioning on that part of that.
Correct. And also, the spidey senses were like, I feel like that's not happening at all.
Yeah.
What's going on there? I was being baited.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, there's, I forgot where I was going with that, but one of the things that we learned was if you're afraid of like what's coming in, or if you're super curious, not even afraid, just super curious, and you want to know who it is coming in, you can ask your guides, you can ask them as a spirit you can require them to identify themselves.
Oh, for sure.
Now, I don't always do that because I'm like, all right, my bouncers, my entourage, Lily and Dr. Mike, I know they have my back. I know my alchemist is adjusting my vibration. Yeah, right. So I like the element of surprise. Mm-hmm. However, not everybody does. So sometimes when one of the weeks in class, she said, okay, we're going to do mental mediumship first. We're going to pull in, we're going to allow the entity into our mind clairvoyantly to identify themselves and then ask the room, who does it go to?
Oh, I love that.
So that way it takes that fear away. And 9 times out of 10, it's not even like afraid of who's coming through. It's afraid of being wrong.
Oh, 1,000%. And just the idea of like all the things that can go, what if I sound wrong? What if I don't know what I'm doing? All the things that block the energy along the way that just kind of funnel it and siphon it and stop it. That's, makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. So I think the more you do it, the more comfortable, like the more I don't feel like I need to do that.
No. Anymore. And you're like, it's riding a bike.
Now, when I will say, when I go to do my first full seance, I might do that for a seance, for my first one, sure. Just to connect and go, okay, mediumistically connect with the loved one, only because I'm so weird about permission.
I get that. And
I would want, and that's because I have, it's a reflection of me. I have people that on the other side that I would never, ever want to step into.
Yeah, that's different than entities.
A medium. And if that medium doesn't know and they're not, you know what I mean? Like that person could step in and be like having a conversation with me. I'll be like, get out.
Yeah. You're not welcome here.
Nope. Mm-hmm. So as my own fear of encountering that, I could see myself that first time, just allowing myself to connect mentally to know, and is it okay if I bring through your father? Is it okay if I bring through your loved one? Okay, thank you. And then allow that process to happen. And that's just part of growing as a practicing trance medium. I don't offer it necessarily as a service. Sometimes they'll step in, and I've done it in mentorship where guides have stepped in and spoken directly to the person. But not loved ones yet. I'm not quite there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I am at the shop. Well, I'm excited. Are you ready to jump off the bridge?
I don't know.
We'll have to see.
How about you? What do you feel?
I don't know what's happening yet. I have to see. I feel like it's just kind of like, I know I have energy all around me. I think part of me was like, are you dancing first, Lorenda? That just always feels right to me for some reason.
I can go first.
Yeah.
I feel the tingles. I feel the vibration.
Yeah. I don't know why. I just like that order for some reason. So I think it's like an astrology thing. It's like fire sign first, then air. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
For the moment. It'll probably change at some point.
I can see it changing.
Yeah, of course. All right, everybody. Let me get started.
All right.
Okay.
I think I'm going to invite, oh, okay. All right. I can feel, and you can see it, like my eyes will do a weird thing. I have a hard time as Lorenda speaking so I want everybody who's watching to make note of that. You'll see the things to watch for are my speech patterns, you'll see as spirit is preparing me, you'll see my energy shift. And as
gesture
he steps in, you'll see it. I love doing it on camera because you'll see, usually a transfiguration energetically of some kind. So let me see. I'm super curious because I don't think I just have one. I've got Lily here, but I feel I'm curious to see which one of these.
I feel like Dr. Mike's around too. That's
yeah. Oh, Dr. Mike's
always around. Yeah.
He's always around. He's like, I'm always around. Okay, well, let's see. And yes, yeah, you're right, Jenny. My voice will change. And yes, you're right, Jenny. Lily did almost come in because I was like, hey, I'm not done talking yet. She's like, but aren't you?
She's like wrapping up.
Jenny, I think Jenny's watched us do this enough that she gets it. Okay. Oh, okay. I think you're right, Carrie. I think Dr. Mike wants to come in tonight.
Yeah.
And talk about who's coming in and why. Okay. Okay. All right. Hello, Carrie.
Dr. Mike, it's so nice to be with you. How have you been?
Always good to see you. Always good to see you. I'm doing well. Thank you so much. And Fielding and I have been having so much fun together, learning some new things and working together to make sure today went smoothly. Normally, your what Lorenda refers to as the joy guide has a lot bigger say in this, but this is more about education.
Yes.
And an understanding frequency.
Yes.
As well as in spiritual work.
Yes.
As well as everyday work. So I have Lily and I have worked together to bring forward a very, very special entity today. Okay. And I think you'll be quite pleased with this selection. So I just wanted to step in briefly and tell you hello, and it is good to see you.
Yes.
And to let you know,
Dr. Mike, do you have any recommendations for types of questions I should ask the new entity?
Yes. Try to keep this from this is an entity that will be very creative and invoke a lot of creativity, but I would challenge you to come at this from a more scientific point of view of what this particular entity, spirit, very divine spirit, will be, how they relate to the work that you do in frequency. And I think this will all come to make sense very, very soon. Okay, so I'm going to step away and Lily is going to usher in our special guest.
Thank you.
Thank you. Always good to see you, Carrie.
You too.
We'll talk again soon.
Thank you.
Hello, Carrie.
Hello.
My name, as you would know it, is Saint Clare.
Saint Clare. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Thank you.
I work primarily, I am the patron saint of music.
Very good.
And as you know, music is very important to the medium.
Mm-hmm.
And she brings music through. She often channels music. And she receives music as messages sometimes.
Yes.
And we often misunderstand how music can affect us.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to briefly speak on music and vibration and how I would have known it versus how you understand it now. It still works very much the same. However, it's very different, but it is the same. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Makes sense. Yes.
So now from a mediumistic spiritual connection point of view, your guides, your master teachers, your angels, your loved ones will often use music to bring through messages and helping with your Clare audience, I believe is what you call it.
Yes.
And to help you hear things in a clearer voice that maybe you would not necessarily understand as a message.
Yes.
So if you have a spirit come in and just deliver a message, you might doubt yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Where when you bring through music, you might sing the lyrics or know the lyrics.
Yes.
And this is how spirit, your spirit team, angels, can often help you also feel safer in a message delivery. But also understanding that vibration, if you have a loved one that loved a particular song, then that is the vibration and frequency, a lot of times, how they resonated. So they present as that song, and they'll come through as that song to you as a human, as a loved one, or a medium. But also when we are out in public spaces, we might hear music as a warning signal, or as a way of understanding maybe what someone else is going through. You might come across a worker in a market, what do we call it? A store that might be having a bad day. And we might hear a certain song, or we might hear lyrics that would help describe their day, and it would help give us empathy to them. So start paying attention to music. And I know sometimes now when you are out in public places, you hear music in the air and in speakers. Speakers, I believe, is what they come through. I'm using the medium's vocabulary, so forgive me if I say something incorrectly.
No, it's perfect.
They come through speakers. You might get messages from loved ones or help you even understand a current situation around you. Music is vibration.
Yes.
It's vibration, and it is. And we can often call in music to make us, to invoke certain feelings. When we are missing someone, it is important to listen to that music or to feel that music or think of that music. And this is where many didn't understand me when I was in my earth walk. And I could hear music. I knew music. I could feel music through others. And so now I'm here to help you understand that music and vibration can transcend and help us feel a certain way, but also help us understand others. If you are confused as to why someone is not being nice, ask your spirit team, ask your angels, your guides, to send you a song to help you understand how they're feeling and to give you empathy. This world is lacking so much empathy right now. And it's going to be tougher for a little while. And we will move through this. And all you can really do is find your own grounding, find your own space in this chaos, and play music. Listen to music, create to music, and see if it helps your life become better. So now I would like to ask you, Carrie,
yes,
what questions would you like to ask of me?
Thank you so much, first of all, for being here and making such a beautiful impact on our audience. And to anyone who'll be watching this later, it's so helpful to have you share your knowledge. So I want to thank you for that. You do have some questions. I have some questions first. So one of the things that I understood from working with archangels is that archangels begin to exist in the space dimension-wise, in the space of where sound starts. That's the first place they connect. And often the way you can connect with that realm is through song and sound. Can you explain that to us since we're talking about, and Dr. Mike wanted me to talk about frequency. I wanted to talk about the octaves of music and the connection between the third dimension and then what I know to be the higher dimensions. And as far as being able to transmute denser energies and be able to manifest and aligned with our higher selves, our, our timelines, which are more in harmony for us. Can you explain that part of it for us, if you wouldn't mind?
Absolutely. So thank you. That was a wonderfully deep question, and I'm excited to dive into this. So it's important to understand that on the other side, so in the frequency where I exist, for example, we have our own set of vibration. Okay. And the best way I can say it is this, that here in your earth plane, you have two different types of music when you write it. You have a treble clef and a bass clef, right? So they are different frequencies. In my realm, we have yet another frequency.
Yes.
So when you find those frequencies that transcend into our realm and cross over is when you meet us and can find us. And same with angels, and they are in a different frequency than even I am. But there are certain notes, as you would call them, that transcend. And this is where the labels that you call them are different than what we would call them. I think you call them hertz.
Yes.
So when you find those hertz that cross over interdimensionally, then you can communicate with us, and we can hear and feel you, we can feel you in a different way as well. So when you're in your meditation, and this will be fun for you as a Magdalene priestess, you're going to have so much fun with this. You can ask for the relevant vibration. It's simple. You can ask for the relevant vibration that crosses over realms.
Right.
Because we don't always hear or feel the vibration of all of the notes. or all of the frequencies that are here. I think another good analogy would be, what do you call it? AM versus FM. Is that
yes.
Is that still?
Yes.
Okay. Is that, I was just,
it's not still a thing for some people, but it's known by many.
right. So FM frequencies are different than AM frequencies.
Mm-hmm.
And so as if you are listening to AM and you want to listen to, if you want to hear the FM frequencies, you have to change the notes. You have to change the, what's the dial. You have to change the dial to go into that frequency. And once you are into that frequency, there's a whole wide range, an assortment of vibrations. And this is how we can connect interdimensionally as well. So you ask your spirit team to present to you the vibrations of music that cross over.
Yes.
And once you can identify those, once they help you identify those frequencies, and you can tune into those frequencies, you are able to transition into and explore other realms and other dimensions.
Yes.
Did I explain that okay?
Yes, very well. Okay. And the other thing I've heard, the terminology in some instances, it's something called a current of energy. So that it's more of, if you're connecting with maybe different groups of entities, and or even let's say, for example, a pantheon of entities. Maybe you work with, say, the Celtic goddesses and gods, and they have their own current of energy, because then you can identify them. Would that be along similar lines?
Very similar, yes, very similar. And the medium has spoken of this similar thing when Miss Lily's explaining this to me. She's telling me how the medium, Lorenda,
yes,
when she connects to a higher self vibration or another soul, she envisions what she calls a tube or some sort of connective energy.
Yes.
How she sees it is relevant to what she knows in this earth walk. And you are correct. All it is a current of energy, a channel, if you will, of energy that is very distinct to that realm. And a more advanced medium or practitioner, and healers do this as well. Those who feel with their hands, they can transcend that energy and channel that energy through their hands.
Yes.
You can. It's very much a channel or a frequency that is very distinct to the channel or the frequency that you are trying to connect to. And this is where your guides, Dr. Mike and Fielding are taking lots of notes right now. They're so studious.
Yes, they are.
Because this is how they're going to help.
Yes.
It's how they're going to help you as mediums and help your listeners, those observing right now, to understand that they too, you don't have to be a practicing medium to do this. Right. You can tune in other realms through that channel vibration. And it's a direct link, as you might call it.
Yes.
But work with your guides. Work with your spirit team, whomever they might be.
Yes.
And call them forward. It might be a master that is helping you at the moment. And ask your master teacher. If you work with angels, ask your angels to come in. Although those angels, they're a lot of energy. Most people think that they are channeling angels, but what's interesting is most of the time you're only channeling a very, very small portion of their energy. Did you know that they are just such a large energy to the divine that you get a very small thread of what they can provide to you, and it can feel very overwhelming.
Yes.
So just know that they are here, and while you only you feel overwhelmed and feel like such a large energy with them, you're only getting a tiny thread.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's right.
Beautiful experience. And even us, those of us in my realm, we often will communicate with angels and feel very blessed when we are able to bring forth and enjoy and bask in and share their energy. So even if you're working with the angels, understand that is the same thing. There's a thread. It's like a thread of energy that connects you, because we all carry those vibrations. That's the other thing I think it's important to know. We're all capable of holding those vibrations. Some of us carry it in some of you might carry it in your body.
Yes.
Through your DNA, which is why you connect to certain entities much easier than others.
Yes.
Some of you, if you were what you would call an extraterrestrial. Mm-hmm. So in another, just how we see it is just another dimension, another vibrational dimension. But you would call an extraterrestrial. If you were that in another existence, in another timeline, you have a much easier time connecting to them. Mm-hmm. And I think some of you, I know you know this, Carrie, that your future self, yes, and what you would consider future, what we just consider being and existing in different places, mm-hmm, can come through, and give us advice, but that also is a specific channel. Yes. So it is important when doing this work, though, that we try not to open too many channels at once, because your human body is not designed for that. Right. It is only designed for limited connectivity, which is why oftentimes in the beginning stages of this kind of work, music is what will help you. Yes. That makes so much sense. Now, someone asked a really good question. There's been a couple of good. And the question is, how do they find their own personal frequency? If you understand the question. Yes, I do. And this takes quiet contemplation. This takes sitting and being open to accepting your own vibration. We find that many humans are not comfortable feeling their own vibration. Mm-hmm. They are more fascinated with feeling others. Right. As humans, we don't often like to sit in the vibration because of genetic transference of energy. Yeah. Because of the density of your bodies as spiritual beings. As spirit moving into a human body is very, very difficult. It's very dense and very heavy. Yes. And our souls don't always enjoy diving into that, or delving into and connecting to our own earthly frequency. But in order to feel the others, we have to be familiar with what is our own versus what belongs to others. Correct. So if you are on a spiritual journey, you must understand, in order to have discernment, you need to know the differences. And then once you understand your own frequency, and that's through meditation, it could be through just spending time out in nature and asking your body is energy. Ask your body to present its own vibration to your clairvoyant or your conscious mind.
Yes.
Get to know your body. And then as you understand your physical vibration, you can then ask for your higher vibrations, your higher frequencies, to reach out and feel or experience and connect to others. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Okay.
It makes a lot of sense.
It's hard sometimes to translate in what I experienced and putting into the words that would make sense for you. So my apologies if sometimes I struggle, but we should do our best.
No, you're doing beautifully. Thank you so much. I think we're really getting the gist of it. Something else I thought of seeing, though, in some of the work that I've done in spaces, we work a lot with sound, clearing out and attuning to different, to clear out the chakras and the blocks in chakras and the aura, things of that nature. And now, as far as that goes, do you have any suggestions for people, ways they can do that? For example, would it be good to listen to maybe music that's created for the type of clearing, or using a tuning fork or some kind of an instrument?
Yes, you humans have done a beautiful job of creating instruments that align with each of your energy points, with each of your chakras. And sound bowls,
yes,
on the other side, we love to hear them too. We love to hear the music that those beautiful instruments provide, and to understand the different notes that your chakras resonate in. You absolutely can. And through conscious visualization as well, there has to be a conscious connectivity. Just walking through, say you're just existing out in the world, and you walk through a room where someone's playing a bowl, you might feel good. But there needs to be a conscious connectivity for it to, and permission as well, for your body to absorb and identify and take on and heal from that. So there is a conscious connection that needs to happen. However, if you just want to feel good and wake up each of those chakras and bring them to life, finding the sound bowls, the tuning forks, there are plenty of other instruments that will bring forth and wake up a chakra, as you might say. It would bring it to life, and it's like a what's a modern word? An on switch.
Yes.
Did I use that word appropriately?
Yes.
An on switch to bring it to life.
Yes.
Healing, however, has to be conscious, inviting the sounds to intertwine like a dance with the chakras must be conscious, because that is part of our healing journey. And it is also not just for the chakras, but for your spiritual, your physical, chemical makeup, the energy that you take on through the day, that you take on from other people. When you come in as an infant, when you were created, you come in with a certain vibration, and to heal that vibration, you can invite all of that beautiful sound frequency in.
Yes, beautiful. That makes so much sense. And I could think of so many questions I have for you, because I think about culturally too, how many spiritual traditions use singing and sound to connect with the divine. You know, there's just so many beautiful traditions of echoing back, to singing prayers to the divine and then coming back. So that's so beautiful. This has been so helpful and so enlightening for all of us,
Yes, and I do appreciate you asking such good questions. I do want to make one more point.
Please.
Even in early days of man, you will notice. I guess you wouldn't notice unless you travel. We know that music, drums, for instance,
yes,
rhythm, helped in the evolution of all beings. And you'll notice also, if you play music around animals, they too will react. They love and feel that vibration. So understand that as we are moving in, and by the way, thank you for doing this work, because as we transition into this new higher frequency and in the earth plane and heal, music and frequency are going to be very necessary. Clearing out old, as you might call it, generational trauma or patterns. Ultimately, it's frequency, things that you yourself, Carrie, never experienced. You still carry with you through your physical body because of how you are as humans, just human design. And so as we do this work, you have the ability to clear all of that. Isn't that beautiful?
It is beautiful.
And many people, many humans have come here specifically for that job, to clear. And this is why so many of you are having what you would call an awakening.
Yes.
And it goes across the planes and of all religions and all vibrations, because music is for everyone. Frequency is for everyone.
Yes. It's very interesting because priestesses work a lot with a drum, and they are working, clearing rooms or starting ceremonies and things. And I was just thinking 2 days ago about that very thing, thinking, I think I might have to get a drum. So it's quite interesting that you bringing this up, just for the work in general for all of us, but in order to just, again, do all the things that are beneficial to us with sound and rhythm and vibration. So
one thing I would love to point out, because the medium, Lorenda,
yes,
is a rhythmic tap dancer.
Yes.
Now, I'd like to make a comparison, if it's okay.
Oh, please do.
Someone like her, who tends to get overwhelmed in their thinking mind, where the brain overtakes, and you get so caught up in logic.
Yes.
And there are many. I know Dr. Mike is explaining to me that many of her friends and connections are doctors, engineers, and they're very logical-minded people. However, they find joy in tap dance.
Yes.
And it's because it takes all of the energy out. It refocuses the brain, and rhythm works directly with your heart.
Yes.
The heartbeat. And as the heart beats, it thrums the blood through the body. It's very much a human thing. We don't have heartbeats on the other side because we don't have bodies. So it's very much a physical presence. However, this is why so many shamans and so many medicine people in tribal traditions thrive in drums and rhythm and as the priestesses, because the priestesses speak through the heart.
Right.
And it transcends the mind and it brings your body alive because it aligns with the rhythm of your body. And so remember that when you are in your practice, that not only are you utilizing a drum, but you are aligning with the body's heartbeat, the body's biological rhythm, and allowing people to get out of their thinking mind, out of their logical mind, the healing from the heart center outward.
Yes, that makes so much sense. That's beautifully illustrated. And I've heard things about that before. So thank you so much for explaining that. And
you are welcome. You are very welcome.
Yes.
So I do want to thank you. I know that there is a very dear entity, spirit, divine spirit.
Yes.
Would like to come in and speak very briefly.
Yes, please.
Very briefly, just more for a collective message. And she really has.
I love that. Thank you.
Yes. So thank you so much for allowing me
for being here. We appreciate you for coming
here and so much. And so I would like to bestow a blessing upon you, if that is okay. And the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, I would like to say thank you and amen.
Amen. A woman. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
It is so.
We thank you.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
I am known as Saint Lucy. I am the patron saint of the blind.
Oh, okay.
I will be here just a very brief time.
Okay, thank you.
My message here, and we will speak again.
Lovely.
We will speak again in the future, but for today, my message to you is when you find that you are feeling blinded or others are not seeing clearly, we must connect them heart space to heart space.
Yes.
And we must listen. We must open our ears and hear what we cannot see clearly. We must feel what is not clear to us and what we do not understand. When we say things like, don't they see what they're doing? They do not.
Yep.
We have a lot of work to do. And I just wanted to share this message that we must, even when the times we cannot see, we must invoke all of our other senses and bring empathy and understanding before we can invoke transformation.
Mm-hmm.
And understand that we may not get to see full transformation in this existence in the way that we want to, but we must not turn a blind eye anymore. There is no excuse. You have other senses. Listen to your intuition. So thank you for allowing me to come through and speak.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Saint Lucy. We appreciate you.
Thank you for giving me the space. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow.
Oh.
How do you feel?
Fun fact, when I became Catholic, I chose St. Lucy as my Catholic name.
Wow.
Or my confirmation name.
Wow.
To have two saints.
Yeah. And don't forget that when a while back, you also had another saint that came in.
St. Francis.
Yeah, St. Francis.
Wow. And you know what's interesting is in my last trance class, a trance healer in the class spoke to me and said that I would be bringing through, I'm just now remembering this, more divine energies. And I was like, me? That's funny.
Yeah.
Me.
Well, and it's so, the saints have actually such a great gnosis. They have a great connection to humanity because they walked the earth and because they have this really, much like Mary Magdalene, really this experience of having such compassion and empathy for mankind and helping people to overcome things, which is so needed. So super important. And it's very interesting with St. Lucy. When you were talking, I could feel my eyes like clearing, literally clearing.
Yeah, that one. Wow.
It was really, really, really beautiful. And I'm gonna have to, and St. Clare, I think it's interesting you brought through two feminine saints.
Yes, they were very easy to blend with, which is probably why I did not.
You didn't feel a big thing.
I didn't feel a huge shift. They just were like.
It was supernatural. There was almost like pieces of them, especially Lucy, that reminded me a little bit of Lily. Not exactly her energy, but there was a compatibility there,
Yes. And that's where I love divine feminine energy.
Yeah.
Easily blend. Like I'm so used to bringing them in that
it's like
I mean, I brought in master energies. We brought in other divine energies. And what's interesting is like Dr. Mike felt like a bigger energy because I'm very much a feminine embodiment, right?
Right.
When he steps in, it's very metallic, a lot more dense. Even though I'm used to him, it does have a different.
It's very different embodiment, isn't it?
It is. It really is. And so when I've brought through masculine energies, it's a lot more for my body to blend with.
Yeah, it's like it's animating you in a whole different way.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm interested to see like what kind of experience, like was there transfiguration? Was there, because obviously I can't see what's happening.
Exactly. Well, let everyone kind of comment there, but I mostly notice it in their demeanor. I mean, it's when I notice when Lily comes in, I can really see her kind of light and how she moves through you. And so some part of St. Lucy felt like there was a bit of that, but at the same time, it was definitely there was a part of her, because she was talking about music, you could tell it was her niche. And so the way she expressed and the way you moved with how she was being really mindful and conscientious was different than.
I could feel her reaching for words. Oh, I'm having a deja vu moment. Hang on.
Yeah.
What the heck right now? Hold. I could feel her reaching for words and going through trying to sort out what she would call something.
Yes, that's definitely, especially because there is, I think this is part of trance mediumship, is that vocabulary and reaching with what we know when we're the mediums as is something that would then almost like there's still some ways that we're, again, what we said is being educated on a spiritual level about content. Mm-hmm. So they're looking in our vocabulary, what we've got somewhere in the field, until we get so comfortable just saying the words, like how, and then also she's really a big thing about wanting things to make sense. That was what I noticed about her vibration.
She was, that's what I'm saying. I felt like she was extremely mindful.
She's very conscientious of like everybody in the audience understanding the energy, you know, and how she broke it down in a way that was sort of understandable was quite interesting.
And oh, this is like the weirdest. I'm having like my own mind is going.
I know you are, because it's all sort of all part of very landscaped in your own journey as well.
Yes. And they're showing me a couple other experiences that I had that I'm trying to put two and two together, like, and I'm trying to place, and this has happened all day today. Like all these different things have come in, these flashes of memories. And I'm like, but was that real or did I dream that? Was I in hypnosis? Like, was that an actual thing? So I'm really interested to see how this plays out long-term. But interestingly enough, when St. Clare came in, just like other entities, it's like, I feel like I don't have my eyes closed. Like they can see the room. Yeah. They can see what you're doing. They can see what's happening, even though my eyes are closed.
Yeah.
Lucy, it was dark.
Yeah.
Lucy
couldn't see.
She's the patron saint of the blind.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. I've heard other people who do trance mediumship talk about feeling them search through their brain. Yeah. And that was really happening a lot. And, you know,
Daryl Hannah talks about, I think some mediums also do, when they're really committed to trance and they have an entity like Bashar coming through, they actually do on their off time, like if you're listening to music or you're studying something, they also study more, they read more. So their vocabulary is wider, to be honest with you. So they have more of those things moving through their energy, if that makes sense, so that they can make full access of the medium and the channel. Like I kind of feel that in general, that's why they guide you towards certain text, watching certain, you know, thing. I mean, they're having like my goddesses. Yeah. My goddesses are like, okay, here's your list of 50 books you're going to read in the next 6 months.
Right.
Just so you know, just so I can accelerate whatever I'm going to be bringing in, and I have a place for it.
Yes. And it builds their
repertoire of words
they can choose from, and experiences that they can choose from to get us, because there is, and I don't know that I fully understand it, but there is that connection between them. I mean, they're spirits. So,
yep.
And a lot of times they've never spoken English.
Yes.
That's the other thing, like
and there's translation.
Yes. Their intention is
absolutely what I mean. And yes. And also why there is this sort of acceleration of work. And so I think that's a really good conversation before we go into the next phase, Lorenda, if I can say, is that, so here's the thing about, when you're developing yourself as a channel and a medium, you know, it's not like, okay, I've developed and here I am, and now I just bring through spirits and I'm good. Like, no, in fact, you yourself to really be in the frequency of working with spirit and how spirit's guiding you, your journey is never going to end. You are still advancing, growing, releasing, tuning into vibration, right? Mm-hmm. Growing, letting things go, clearing out your chakras. You are connecting and doing what like Lorenda and I doing this together. This is an experiment.
It truly is. And I will tell you, Lucy, like I'm trying to go through the checklist because I feel like you're having a big,
I think
I'm trying to make sure. And I'm like, did I not disconnect okay? But no. I just heard she left an energetic imprint with me.
Yeah, it's a reason.
But there's work I have to do, and she's coming back.
Yeah, she said that.
Oh.
She said she'll be back.
Interesting.
Yeah, she said she'll be back. And this is a whole thing. I was going to say you, the saints, and also I feel like that's part of when you're working with certain entities. That's why they say there's, like, for example, in my instance, like the Magdalene line, right? It's a frequency of energy, which it doesn't just end when the soul passes over into the spirit world. It's something that's a lineage that moves through, typically on your soul's path, that you've had started when you started incarnating. And so what's happening for everybody who's more conscious right now is you're clearing off those karmic patterns. We do this in our work when we're regressing or healing or whatever, doing multidimensional channeling and healing like you do as well. And we're clearing out that so we can get back into that frequency again. And that's why they're talking about these topics, if you notice. And they're having us kind of, so in our example, we being the channels carrying that through, and then all of you guys are doing that, and other channelers are doing that. It's everybody, right? That's in the consciousness movement. Like, when we get when we get the adjustment back into that, and it might also feel like, wow, I studied that 25 years ago. Yeah, you did. And the seed was planted, and it's always been there. And now it's shifting timelines. So we have more.
And then we've got, they're in there like going through the Rolodex.
Absolutely.
This one, say this one.
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly. Hello. It's so nice to have. How many people do we have in here right now? I can't
26. We're at an all-time high.
We are so you know what? We're so happy you guys are here. You have no idea.
We are so happy. So some of these comments.
We're so happy you're here. And a quick thing. So please make sure, just really quick housekeeping before we continue the broadcast. We'll definitely talk to you more. These are all recorded and can be found both on my page and Lorenda's page. If you guys can help our channel so we can channel. Did you get that? Did you get that? And if you guys make sure you're following us and subscribing to both of us, and then watch our content. It's mainly like we're trying to get ourselves out and to as many people as possible, because we know this will help a lot of people. So make sure you're doing that, and then go back and watch our videos. That helps us get out more on YouTube and also on Google search. It's not a vanity metric. It's getting out our message so that the cream can rise to the top.
Correct.
So, yes. So thank you. We're very excited.
So Kenzie asked, are you absolutely zapped after this interaction with spirit if you do it for a while? So typically I would say no. This feels different. Like I still feel like I'm a little bit in a zone. I'm not exhausted. I'm not tired. Not like that. I honest to goodness feel like she left a piece of her.
I know why that is.
And and I love that because I know why that is. I have when I became Catholic, which I'm a recovering Catholic at this point. I'm not exhausted.
This is connected in with your own soul lineage. That's what I'm going to tell you.
It's tricky. And the fact that I chose St. Lucy years ago to be my patron saint, and I just remembered I actually have like a pendant that I haven't worn probably in 15, 20 years. 15 years probably.
Yep.
So
that tracks.
I'll have to go see if I can.
I think it's calling you more because there's more there.
I like the color left. No, well, that's just because I'm pale and I need to get out in the sun more. But also I feel that was two saints coming in. So I'm not exhausted. It's just the energy feels different. Yeah. I feel peacefully calm. That's what it is. It's that calm. Because I'm never this calm when you and I are hanging out. I feel calm, not tired, chill.
I have I literally could do a whole reading on you right now about it. I'll do it later.
Okay.
We'll share the findings. We are experimenting.
Yes, we are experimenting. So I'm kind of like just living in this, but also I'm getting downloads, like deja vus. So there's something that shifted, what they've shifted in my energy through this process. I'm super curious, and I'm glad
I know what the other thing is too.
I'm glad we're talking about this too, as I kind of decompress.
Because if you know, and the other thing, Lorenda, what they were talking about specifically for you as a mentor is the thing about sound and moving and how you can work, how you're going to use that frequency wise in your work.
That makes sense. Makes sense. I mean, I do that every day as a dance teacher.
Right. But then you're going to be integrating that possibly into rhythmically into your work.
Yeah, that makes sense.
See that happening.
Yeah. I love it. All right. And Jenny's like, no, I want to know about it.
I know. Well, we'll get it to you once we
can talk about it too. Like once you and I really sort it out.
Oh yeah.
Then we can do a recording on it, or we can talk about it at our next.
Yeah. So make sure you guys are signed up for notifications.
Hit the bell.
Hit the bell.
Okay.
All right. Oh my God. Okay. I'm going to see else. I'm going to see who's here. I have no idea.
But also your energy shifted. Your energy is.
I could feel them. And I was like, I got a couple names. I was like, I don't know who the heck's here. So I have no idea.
Do you feel like I'm going to ask you what I ask my students. Do you feel like it's a guide or a loved one?
It's definitely not a loved one. I'm like, you guys, listen, you can come during a little we are teaching up in here. Okay, break times. Let me see.
Okay, let's see who's coming.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is kind of a big energy if I'm getting what I'm getting. So I'm like, okay, I'm trying really not to even think anything through.
Just let it happen.
Gonna go.
We got this.
Okay, hang on, guys. Let me just see who's coming in. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is okay. All right, let me talk to one of my goddesses first about the prerequisite of this, meaning understanding her. So I have to talk to Isis about this because I feel like this is a big Egyptian energy coming in, which I was not expecting. So I'm just trying to just be in that. And I felt it before. I was like, okay, it is what it is.
Just going to buckle up. Going to get grounded.
Buckle up. You're here. Okay, let me just shift. I'll be with you guys.
I'm holding space. I'm holding battery.
Thank you, babe. We begin with Isis.
Welcome, Isis.
Blessings to you, and I hope you are all having an enchanting evening tonight. What a beautiful moon that exists in the world that many of you are in. We hope that you are enjoying being out in nature in the Northern Hemisphere. It's so beautiful outside. It feels balmy, and we enjoy being in the physical. In the spirit world, we really enjoy when we can connect as much as we can to the physical because there's so much passion and movement and energy that flows through your bodies. This is something we're hoping that you learn to enjoy, is your goddess energy in flow throughout your entire body. This strikes a deep chord in many, especially those that would consider themselves to be of the Christian mindset, because you have caged your energy, your sensuality, into a little box inside of a part of your chakra system that barely exists. It's time for you to challenge yourself, to express yourself more freely, to move your energy, your kundalini throughout your entire auric field and body, releasing the chambers of your heart, as was so beautifully expressed by Saint Clare, and giving the sense of sound and movement, as you say, throughout the entire space in which you exist. No longer should you be playing small and fragile. You need to stand about on top of mountains and claim and proclaim your divinity in every single action and step. You must not play small and hide yourself behind a curtain. This is very important for all of you, masculine, feminine, and everyone in between. We were wondering before whether this masculine energy would come in, whether the inhabitant would be able to handle this frequency. And we are quite sure that there is room for him in this one's space. Is everybody ready, Lorenda?
We are ready. We are so ready. Thank you so much, Isis, for providing this, giving us the space and this beautiful advice.
Pay attention to this coming moon, and always pay attention to the moon. We give you signs through the moon. Blessings.
Many blessings to you. Thank you so much. I am known as Ra. Welcome, Ra.
I can feel all of your hearts beating inside your chest. What a magical place the human body is, that you get to exist in this physical realm, a place of magic, a place of mystery. Now on your planet, we have many that are aching, many that feel sorely at a loss, many who feel desperate, many who are looking for a kindling, an inkling of understanding. We hope, as gods and goddesses and deities and entities, to prepare you for what is coming on your planet. Many of you ask these questions. What is coming? We've often heard these words, the second coming. Let me explain exactly what this is. When we say the second coming, what we are trying to refer to is that the divine is within. It is not another being outside of your atmosphere. It, in fact, is you, your divinity. You must proclaim, as you heard from Isis, that the fragile nature in which you've looked at yourself as a human being is mere an illusion. It's a fragment of who you are. Your purpose on this earth is to reclaim your heart, your energy, and the mysteries in which you've kept yourself stifled, stymied, and not prepared for what is coming is still a mystery to you. But if you endure and take the time to get to know your frequency, to understand who you are as an infinite being and as part of the divine, part of what is happening on this planet, you will join with others and raise the collective consciousness. Do not be afraid of great deities. Great deities only try to mirror to you what you have within. Remember this. You have just seen a capitulation of both the divine feminine, which we know as Mother Isis, and the divine masculine, or the sun, which we sometimes refer to as Ra. There are other divine masculine expressions throughout your planet. You must find yourself in both of these iterations of feminine and masculine, and know that all the hard work that you have put into your life, your path, also these elements exist within you. Lorenda,
yes.
Do you have any questions for me at this time?
So I'm trying to formulate the best way to ask this question. As we, as humans in the physical world, are transitioning in the and the earth and the times are moving through from a very masculine driven time, as a number of deities have spoken to us about, into a more divine feminine. As the pendulum swings, how can we best prepare our physical beings for that shift? Because there are many people who struggle with this actual shift in going from masculine to feminine. How can we best prepare our vessels, or prepare the future vessels coming in, future humans coming in? What would you advise us on that?
What a brilliant topic of conversation. You notice in the instructions that came through, you had an example of divine feminine embodiment and now a divine masculine. You can familiarize yourself with the clean and pure archetypal energy. So you understand the principles of yin and yang. You possibly understand in all pantheons there exists a divine masculine and a divine feminine. You can look to these archetypes to look how they support and strengthen and challenge each other. You'll notice in these more pagan traditions that the masculine and the feminine can have to coexist together. They cannot be separated. One cannot do without the other. So look to cycles of nature. Follow the wheel of the year if you need to. You'll see how the goddess rises in the spring and how the masculine then escorts her on his journey. And then when the parting of the sun moves into the other part of the hemisphere and there's less light, we go back to the underworld and we find the cycle begins again. There is masculine and feminine in every form in nature. And what we know about the major religions that you find on your continents is that they obliterated the feminine, and then they deconstructed the masculine to topple over her. Goddess culture. This is why it's important to understand your history, because this goes back to Paleolithic times when the goddess was revered. And what happened is she was buried and forgotten. You cannot exist one without the other. Understand your own creation process and the balance of when you create and grow something, and then the delivery of that creation comes from the masculine. You would do best to study symbols. We hope this helps you. You should not look to one archetype or person to make the definitive announcement of both of the gender roles. Rather, understand them from a core level. What do they each do? One creates, one nurtures, one advances, one plants seeds. The other then takes the seeds and puts them out to market and to other places. They cannot be separated. Does this make sense to you, Lorenda?
Absolutely, it does. Thank you for such a great example of how that flows and how that works and how they really do work together.
Yes.
So now, as just individual humans here, we're trying to make a collective difference in this transition and shift. What would you suggest to us as individuals who often feel powerless in this? How can we help it? Because the pendulum's going to swing. It's so far in masculine energy. The pendulum's going to swing and overcorrect, I feel. And feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. How can we individually understand and function in that space better, or help maximize this opportunity to create balance? What else? What can we do individually?
Yes. So this is why it is so good that you've suggested that you're creating a library of channeled messages by doing this live stream broadcast. As you remember, in the lessons that were accumulated from the last session, we go back to the beginnings where we say we must see light and divinity within us. And if we see ourselves as powerless, we cannot create from a place and sustain the light and become the change. So your role is incredibly important. And you can learn to ground yourself deeply into the earth and then identify your own divinity, your light within your own chamber. Your chamber is your vessel. Your vessel is your body, your consciousness, your auric field. And this is why it's important, as much as you can, to clear out your timelines, your past life imagery and containers, clearing out your ancestral wounding, as you say, and coming into coherence with these higher vibrations. You are getting a vocabulary and bookends of information, and they will be cataloged. So the truths that are being laid down are not going to be new. They will build upon each other. So if you stay in that frequency and remind yourself of these truths, you will not forget the lessons, and to yourself, you will know that these lessons accumulate into a new reality and a new timeline and a new atmosphere, so that you are in absence of fear. Does that make sense to you?
It does. It's a lot to take in and understand, but yes, it does make sense. I believe on the surface, and I believe that as we deep dive into that and listen to these recordings again, we'll get even more out of it. It's such a beautiful expression of things that we can do to help us feel empowered.
I must also tell you, Lorenda, pardon me, that you are, through this transmission, we are also all channeling, all of us, the frequency of this energy, this wisdom and understanding. So this transmission on its own also will help you raise your vibration and move you out of the clutter of your mind and your consciousness. And your soul will begin to resonate with what is true. The more you hear it, you will become it. The more you say prayers or set your intentions or validate what is true, the more you are in that frequency. And you don't revisit the places that you've been to over and over that keep you at a lower frequency and make you feel stuck.
Thank you so much for that. Now, I would love to ask your thoughts on, in my class with Reverend Glenda this weekend, we talked a lot about non-attachment.
Yes.
I would love if you could share your thoughts on how we can incorporate the idea of just not being attached to an outcome in this journey that we're on, this spiritual evolution that we're in, this physical and spiritual evolution we're in. Can you speak about that non-attachment or not being attached to an outcome?
Yes, this is a very wise question and a topic to discover and understand. I must say to you, this is a time when this would be more of the serious part of the conversation. So feel free, everyone, to write a note to yourself and interpret this. This is meant to be sent with love and care and clarity. But I will tell you now, many of you humans are not really disciplined in order to learn to be objective. What does it take to be objective and neutral? You have to make time for your spiritual evolution. You must make time to meditate. You must make time to clear your mind. You must make time to forgive yourselves. And you must make time to allow spirit to embed within your awareness. If you are traveling down the path of not forgiving self, comparing self, of being brutal towards yourself, making yourself small, You will be attached to outcomes because you put your soul and your sanctity on results outside of yourself. When you learn to be neutral and objective and sit more in the center of the body, not in the front or too far in the back, and you learn to clear out your chakras, which fade and twist your awareness, you will see the pictures clearly. So the meditation might have these components. This would look like sitting back in the center of the body, being aware of the third eye, sixth chakra, holding your hand in your heart space, grounding your energy, and allowing your guides and those that attune your energy to clear out the frequencies that are blocking you in those chakras, which keep you clear, neutral, and objective. This is an exercise which sounds challenging if you haven't spent time with it, but it's actually quite easy. This is easily done if you ask your guides to help you and you observe and you learn to train yourself to not control the outcome. You ask for release, you ask for peace, and you ask for objectivity. This is how you remain neutral. It's much like the Buddhists when they learn to not be concerned about the outcome. If you're concerned about outcome, you are not in the present moment. This is a difficult place to be. And remember the small things we say. For example, open a present. The present is the present because you're in the present. We realize it sounds simplistic, but it is clearly the way, and that is to go within. We hope that makes sense.
It really does. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate you speaking on that because it seems to be, I know as mentors, Carrie and I, we are also students continuing, but we also work with students ourselves. And I think it's so important for them to understand that it's just really the outcome. It's not something we should be concerned with. It's just living in the present moment. So I really, really appreciate you speaking on that. It's a lot of really great reminders for Carrie and I as well. Is there anything else that you would want to, any advice that you can give us as spiritual beings that are living in a human experience? I do have a question.
Yes.
Can I ask you, and this is something I like to play a little game with my own guides.
Yes.
When we are as humans, we often just think that our spirit team is here learning, or that we are learning from our spirit team. They are teachers to us, but they often will say, no, we're learning from you as well.
Yes.
What would you say? Could you speak to that as far as a god or a goddess in the deity world? What is the energy exchange with you all and us? What does that look like for you?
This is an excellent question. We want to let you know that we have been evolving alongside of you since we all began to be part of the divine nature, which makes up the blueprint of this cosmology of where we currently exist in this awareness. We were given bigger roles, certainly, when we come into power from the divine. The power comes from the divine, of course. But what we are learning is that the speed in which we expected humans to move always has to be reviewed because humans are making their own choices. They have free will. And so we cannot impose our expectations or will upon them. We want nothing more than for them to see themselves as part of the community of the divine. We have to release and be neutral to the pace in which that happens, and we have to be objective ourselves. We do still have parts of us that you might even consider to be human, although we have never been human, but we're closer to human than we are say, for example, the angelic realm, because we are closer to the flesh, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So our range of emotion tends to reflect the humans we connect with. We feel it on the outside of our energy field, and we try to direct and navigate it. It's a different relationship than you have with some of the other gods, because we don't exist by ourselves. We live in a pantheon with other gods and goddesses. We are not the only ones, nor do we ever want to be, because we understand we do want in a real true righteousness, which righteousness should be right energy. We don't dominate, we don't control, we don't try and navigate a soul's life path. We simply try to illuminate. So we have to learn to be adaptable. Does this make sense to you?
It does. As a matter of fact, it sounds like you also have to practice non-attachment.
Yes.
Outcome.
This is correct. And this is why we are so closely linked to the human race, because we are an intermediary being. This is different.
Mm-hmm.
We are still close to the earth, and yet we're close to humans, and we feel the vibration of the elements, of humanity, and also other entities. So it's quite sometimes a skirmish that we have to help direct things in order to protect our practitioners and those that call us in. And sometimes we have to let them learn themselves. It's a very interesting transitional transaction, always moving and growing and changing.
I love that, because I think a lot of people get the misconception that those on the other side, even gods and goddesses, they have all the answers. They have access to everything. And I love learning that you all are learning alongside us, just in different ways. And it just looks different maybe than what we would expect.
Yes, especially as they consider me in my cosmology to be a masculine, to be an activator, to be part of the sun. And so what my job is, my role is to shine light and help those. But sometimes my bright light is not necessary, and it needs to appreciate, again, the feminine, which is the moon. And so we need to take our turns. And that's part of your question earlier, is to be able to understand both halves which make up the whole. When do you shine the sun? And when do you let the night come?
Beautiful. Beautifully said. Thank you so much for sharing that wisdom. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us before we close out?
Yes, thank you. My final word for this evening, and I hope to return again with some of the other gods and goddesses. I love to watch each of them work and share their messages. I find it very endearing, entertaining, yes, but also very perfect time right now to be forthcoming to help everyone. And we certainly hope we help. My largest words that I would say to you is to find a chamber in your heart where you can expand love that is from the divine that exists within you. This was a theme this evening. If you've noticed and you are paying attention, the night consists of connecting with your heart. Your heart is the chamber of the divine. It is a portal and a place for transformation, wisdom, growth, and understanding. It's also meant to be an act of mercy. Mercy for self, mercy for others, and spreading light. And we certainly hope, again, that this has helped illuminate something for you. And thank you very much, Lorenda, and everyone else.
Thank you so much for spending time with us and helping us just continue to learn on this spiritual walk that we are taking. Thank you so, so very much. I look forward to speaking with you again in the future.
Walk well, walk well. Thank you very much, Lorenda.
Come on back.
I was just like when my dog came in just at that moment. I was not expecting Ra to come in. Holy crap. Hold on. Let me close my door.
Okay.
Goddess.
Well, be careful getting up, girl. You just were in trance.
Let me close my door. Wow. I was not expecting that. That was not what I was expecting. Let me just take a sip. I need to itch. I was like, okay, let me get in.
Ooh, all the yummy stuff.
Wow. I was not, let me just say notably, Isis, this is from Egypt. I think you know this.
Mm-hmm.
This is an original piece. And it honestly, I'm just telling you this, unless I'm as close to her as I would have really kind of gone, I don't know if I'm ready for bringing in the Egyptian god Ra. Are you sure you dialed in the right phone number?
You got the right address.
And I was like, dude, and that's why she was like, I'm holding this down. Lorenda's here. It's going to be okay. I was a little bit like, I'm just going to
go with it.
It was big. It's like letting the sun in.
Mm-hmm. I know. That was crazy. I loved it. The transfer. I've got a little bit of transfiguration.
Yeah, what was happening?
It was a lot of, it was very seamless, to be honest. Like Isis just stepped right on in.
She's my queen. She's my girl. Yeah.
She's like, how's it going? We're here.
Yeah. Like, Lorenda. Also, just note, I mean, literally her thing is sitting right here, right? So she's right here.
Yeah, she's right there. She's right there.
Yeah.
And again, I channeled questions, so I don't even know what I really actually asked.
You asked some really good questions about masculine, feminine, about healing, about
transition, and like how our human bodies. I feel like some people carry so much anxiety with them, and I think it's because they have the imbalance of the masculine and divine feminine, and as the pendulum swings and as the energy shifts, people that are imbalanced feel like they're just feeling it. And I don't know that it's not conscious. I don't know that anybody who's not enlightened or knows what the hell we're talking about, like they're just trying to show up to church every day and praise Jesus and put some money in the bucket and hope for the best. Like, at what point are they going to be okay? And what can they do? Like, how do we help them? How do we,
And what I love about this, and the other thing the one thing I was aware of is him saying, you guys have a library now of information that this is like groundwork for understanding. And the message is there's a lot of foundational messages that are very consistent. I mean, we're coming up with something. Can I also tell you one other thing that came through that I just realized? Is I'm wearing my lapis. This is for Isis. I have put this on, and I usually wear Hecate's necklace, but I've been wearing other goddesses, and I just put my lapis piece on before I came in here.
See?
And she is amazing too. I mean, I could just spend hours with her.
Just be like, hey, come on in. Have a seat. Want a glass of, want a beer? Need anything? Like,
that was amazing. That was amazing. The whole thing was amazing. And you and I were both like, Lorenda and I are both like, we're like a little sleepy from the 4th of July. How's this going to go?
We sure are going to need you.
Look at us.
Well, I find it really, and I don't know, I mean, Spirit did it, but
Spirit did it. We're just showing up and
asking about the non-attachment thing. Like,
that was huge.
That, and I've talked about that before.
Yeah, of course.
I did. I heard ask, but you know what's funny? You know who told me to ask?
Who?
Glenda's guide, Dr. Buchanan.
Oh, he was here?
Yeah. I think he and Dr. Mike are besties, man.
Oh, I know. I can't wait to like.
We're just like,
I know.
Every once in a while he'll come in, but I feel like some of the people that I go to class with, like, I feel like there was a collective presence of a bunch of guides just like watching the screen kind of feel is what it felt like. Just taking it all in. And I love that even Ra said, well, we're learning with you too.
100%. And you know what was wild?
Learning the non-attachment.
Yeah. Because what I was getting from him, I really felt like when I say this, there is a thing to tell you here. I'm not a deity and I don't assume to be one, but I really felt his perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Like I felt like he showed me his aura, and
they do that. They'll share.
Yeah. He was like, there's the humans, and then there's like the other, and that's the whole thing with the angelics. You know, the angelics are more widespread and universal, but he's more, okay, I'm kind of regional, but people around here know me now, you know, more like people
Words getting out.
Reading a little book, coming open to the, you know, other pantheons. But that was amazing.
All right. Is there a way to know when the feminine and masculine are in complete balance? That's a.
Let me know when you find out.
Right.
I think that's the whole thing. I think it's just that. I guess the thing is, we don't know for sure, but if you understand the clean version, that's why pagan religions are so amazing, because all their myths and their archetypes are based upon masculine, feminine, you know, myth and deities. It's real. I believe it's real. So you can see how that works. But anyway, so I think it's just that action of you learning to understand yourself. Yes. And understanding when you're blocking yourself, understanding when you're going out of whack and pushing yourself too much. It's kind of that set thing. It's very, I think it's kind of like you're an inner pendulum, right?
And I kept getting that image of a pendulum, to be honest. Like, it was like, even earth-wise.
You were saying that.
Like the pendulum swinging from hardcore masculine to, like it, and how do we as spiritual practitioners help calibrate? That's the word I needed. Calibrate that. You know, how can we as leaders because we have, like you and I feel like, I'm not trying to say, well, we are it, like we're the leaders, like look to us, but we do carry we have stepped into a role of responsibility in helping teach others how to step into this energy. So how do we understand ourselves, how to find that balance, as well as help others identify and understand that balance? And whether that be the divine masculine, feminine, or even balancing. I kept seeing the card in my Dancing Spirit Oracle deck, the mindfulness card, where it's past, present, and future. And Ra talked about that. Present is a gift.
Yes.
Present is a present, right? Wow. How do you learn from your past without living in it? Be mindful. How do you prepare for the future without living it? Without being unattached. You cannot be attached to an outcome. How do you live in the flow, live in the present, but still feel prepared, still feel like you're planting seeds, you're still doing everything you need to. And I felt like that was all in that same vein. How do we as practitioners and mentors share that?
Yeah.
And teach that, or at least inspire the people that pay attention to us for whatever godforsaken reason. Being mindful of that, and how do we express that in a way that is helpful? And that if someone watches this video 10 years down the road and is like, how does that person find that inspiration? You see what I'm saying?
So I totally got you. It's so funny. Because when I went to train at my school in Berkeley, my teacher talked a lot about neutrality. Mm-hmm. And he taught us this meditation technique, which I think is so interesting. He talked about the center of your head, okay? And he talked about the center of your head, but it's not your brain, your thoughts. It's more your upper chakras. And you have a place there you create that's called, it's like your room. It's like a reading room, right? What I've added to it since then is the heart chakra, obviously. So having that container of like, where is my navigation system? It's in the upper chakras, but still connected to my physical body, to my heart chakra. And then when I have things that happen to me that make me want to grab and attach, I'm observing myself by looking at my reactions. I'm looking at my how my system is wired, where I'm overly emotional, and still being in your emotions. We're not trying to eradicate them. But then I come back to center and I say, and then I'll know, because Jenny was saying, like, well, how do I know my energy? That's when you know if you're blocked in your fifth chakra, if you're blocked in your second chakra, because you're observing yourself from the place of your center, not from your reactions or your mind being busy. So having a place in your own consciousness, in your physical, and that's what he was saying, being in the center, not being in the front or the back. I've heard this before many times. And so learning, what is that like in your body? And I've been feeling more and more, especially, and I know you feel this way because you're a freaking dance teacher. That's why I'm thinking it has to do with the rhythm thing. I'm telling you.
There's something to it.
I'm saying it. Saying it.
I have a really good friend named Daryl. He's like, there might be something to this.
There might be something to it. But I think learning to do that and then learning to go, oh, wow, my second chakra is really out of balance, or my throat chakra is really activated, or what's going on in my inner. We have to know our own bodies. We have to accept and love our bodies. We have to learn about how we're blocked and our energy. And it shouldn't be a have to. It's more extremely beneficial. And that's why we do have to have a little bit of skin in the game with how do we care for ourselves and our energy. However, whatever your thing is.
And how do we show up for ourselves in general? Because we've got our mind, body, and spirit complex.
Yeah.
One of the things that I thought was cool that Ross said, and I started to write it down. I don't know if I said it. He called all of us humans out. I was like, you tend to not be very disciplined.
He did say it. And I could feel he was trying to soften his words because he came out like an Aries energy. I was like, here we come. I have no idea what you're going to say.
Yeah. But it's true. I think in a world of constant distractions, it's easy to get off track. It's not that we're not disciplined. We just have too many distractions for us to narrow down and go, okay, I need to sit down. How many times have you heard your students say, I can't meditate because when I sit down, I close my eyes and I think of all the things I'm not doing because I'm sitting there meditating. Then the guilt kicks in. And so I think that while a God might say, you're not disciplined enough, I think it's important for us as humans to recognize, yes, from their perspective, it's not disciplined. From our earthly human walk, we have a lot going on.
Yeah. And we do have to prioritize our well-being.
Yes. And so I think by honoring our earth, he did say by honoring your body, connecting to the earth, getting grounded. I think by even if we just compartmentalize all the things we have going on, which is really hard for women to do.
Simple practices.
And then just find a way to spend time on caring for ourselves, loving ourselves, finding our inner joy, connecting to our inner spirit, doing whatever we're doing, whatever we got to work on at the time.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really good message in saying, yeah, love yourself enough to show up for yourself.
Absolutely. And all of those little things that go along, which are little, and this is everything you and I talk about, and I talk about this in Goddess Rising all the time, little simple practices that make a big impact. Little simple practices, right? Are you talking about me? We're talking about all ourselves.
I know. It's my stepsister.
I was going to say, yeah.
She's like, you're talking about me. We might be, bitch.
Well, and also it's like, don't make something bigger than it needs to be. A little goes a long way. A little self-reflection, a little meditation.
Yes. And I think this is where I was going with that whole concept. I got derailed, is when we get so overwhelmed with all the things we have to do.
Yeah.
We think, but if we add meditation, who has time for that? It doesn't have to be that. It could be literally 30 seconds of put your hand on your heart and be mindful.
Yeah. Ground, whatever. Yeah.
Calm down. And
walk.
My friend Krista that was on Spirit Signs and Sips on Thursday, she talked about that. Just like it doesn't have to start out as a full-blown practice. It could be start by just putting your hand on your heart, pay attention to your breathing.
Yeah.
Be mindful of your body. Have a moment of gratitude with your body, because then that's how you build. And then recognize how different you feel after that 1 minute.
Right, exactly. It's these tiny little alterations, just small, that lead to something so big.
That lead to bigger things. Yeah.
That's what Mary Magdalene's saying. She says, let's just be here right now. You need to learn to be.
Just be. And because you know what? Guess what? It's okay just to exist.
Yeah.
I think I scared a guy at the wine vault once. He might still be afraid of me. Mm-hmm. He was complaining about somebody, and not working enough and not doing enough. And I'm like, but are you married to that person? You're not. Were you there for that? And why are we quantifying her value by the amount of work she does every day?
That's a big part of this culture.
And that's where us Gen Xers and boomers and even, millennials, the early millennials are carrying that burden of, generationally, how do we break that? How do we break that cycle? Because you know what? When I laid on my bed for a long time, my husband came in and said, is this going to be a lay in bed kind of day? I'm like, it might be. And I sat up with my full chest and I laid there for another half an hour, read that book. Was that book helping me in any way, shape, or form? Absolutely not. It was 100% smut. Didn't care.
You know what? But you're human, and that's what was needed.
But it was just like, I was just laying there. I'm just like, I was like, this story is dumb, and I can't put it down. I can't put it down. But it was, for me, I was laying down. I was not on my computer.
Right. You weren't showing up for anything, but I
was just being.
That's so important.
Honoring my body to just.
We all need to know that.
And what was cool was Matt was like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go do laundry. I'm like, you do you, dude.
You're okay with it. Everybody else will learn to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's also that I think the idea of understanding when the rat race is getting you, that's big part of the toxic masculinity we were talking about. It's like that if you were looking at those archetypes of divine feminine, divine masculine, the masculine knows the feminine, and this isn't all of us. It's not your gender. This just has to do with yin and yang and energy. You have to rest. And you have to also have that sense, it's important to rest and to recalibrate your energy and to give back to yourself and be nourished. And you can't be in a place, anything that's growing has to have that time. It cannot be always active. You can't take in all the energy that all the guides that are trying to heal us and get our messages to us and share with us and help us recalibrate our energy. We get more when we're sitting back and receiving. Molly, you know what I mean? We're getting more when we are sitting back and allowing the transmission to come through.
Right. Good stuff.
So, oh my God, Molly, I saw your thing. I was jealous. She was boating around.
Well, yeah, because she lives on a boat. I got to meet her. Did you know that?
I know.
I love her.
I'm a little jealous.
Love her. I want to go back and visit her. I want her to pick me up. I'm just going to stand out on the beach.
And it would be like,
I'm going to do this out on the beach.
Like pina coladas and then or whatever. Or I always think, when I see her, I always think of Jimmy Buffett. Just, it's one of those things, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, this was what did everybody think about this?
Yeah. Feedback. What do you guys think?
That was, how many people do we have in here now? I always I have no idea what's going on.
We have 17 now. I think
17.
The most I saw was 27.
Awesome.
That's like, look at us go.
That's for us. We're going. We're growing.
We are growing.
Yeah, we're growing. So we're going to be doing again. Well, I think Lorenda and I have a meeting. It's okay, Mal.
It's on YouTube, so it's recorded. You can actually watch it on YouTube.
Lorenda and I meet each other every Tuesday for business stuff. So let's figure out our schedule, put a calendar out for the rest of the year.
We need to do that.
Yeah. So we'll
we did up through like August or September.
Yeah, we did good.
But also, guess what? You're coming to see me.
I know, my God.
Oh, hey, for those of you that are interested in taking trance, that live somewhat close or want to travel or looking for something to do on Labor Day weekend, Camp Chesterfield just today I was first on the docket to get the memo.
Yeah.
I told my friend, I'm like, listen, I need a sister to help me out here. She's the one that did the schedule and opened up registration. She was like, bitch, it's open. So I think you and I were the first 2 to register, probably.
I probably were.
Within the first 5.
Also, we have to announce we're doing our mediumship on the 19th.
Yes, on the 19th. It's a private event, or we're only selling 10 tickets. That's it. It's
actually we've already sold some, so it's probably more like 8 now.
Okay. So that is July 19th. So not next Saturday, but the following Saturday. It's Saturday night. And we're going to be doing, both of us will get, each person that pays gets their own 20-minute reading from the 2 of us together. Awesome. I'm just here to say that's going to be
powerful.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good stuff. And so that is, what time is that? 7?
Yeah, 7 your time.
7 Eastern time. Next Saturday night, or 2 Saturday nights from now. We'll be back here for this shindig on the 20th. So the next day we'll be doing this and doing more trance.
Oh God, amazing.
We're going to see who comes through, just like what we do. Airport to Chesterfield is Indianapolis. Yeah, it's about an hour, depending on how you drive, to get from the airport to Camp Chesterfield. So if you look on a bigger map, you want to look for Anderson, Indiana. Okay. So it's northeast from where the airport's on the west side. And so, yeah, I'm going to be there for Trance weekend, but then you and we're working on a venue. It'll be you, me, and then my friend Michelle, who's also a Camp Chesterfield medium. We're going to be doing a little demonstration. So amazing. Live and in person, and it's going to happen.
It's going to be so awesome.
And then Trance weekend is, and then, so included in your entrance to the Trance mediumship workshop, which is all day. It's going to be insane. I looked at the lineup.
Do we bring our lunch and stuff? What happens?
Yeah, we can bring our lunch. You and I can bring a cooler or whatever, or there are places in the lunch is a lot. But on that Saturday, the first day of the week, of the weekend, I'm on platform.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
And that's included in because it's normally like $10 to go in for the services. But that's included. And then on Monday, I'm going to be on, like, they don't do this. They don't allow trance on platform, period. And they're letting students do trance. Like Glenda got to choose a few of us.
That's amazing. I can't wait
to do a demonstration on the platform on that Monday. So classes will be Saturday, Sunday. And then Monday will be done by noon, but there's there's like a picnic and the grounds are beautiful. Like, it's just going to be amazing. I
can't wait to take lots of pictures.
Will there be dancing? I don't know. There might be. I don't think so.
Oh, you're so cute, Chad. This is Timmy's one of my students and regular read. Oh, Timmy, I can't wait to see you. We'll have a good catch up.
So I am excited for you to come and stay with me.
I can't wait. We have such a good time. I'm so excited. Can't wait.
And then we're going to try to plan it where I'm going to go back to see you, hopefully in October or November, to work with JJ, who's like, hey, let's do a thing. I'm like,
so that'll be for all
our make that happen.
Washington folks. Yeah.
So I'm excited. We have a lot of things happening.
We have so much happening. It's exciting too. And it's all fun. It's all really, 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 really fun.
It's all good things. Like, and that's where, I think it's just so important also to remember non-attachment. We're not attached to any outcome in this. We're just going to live in the flow. We're going to plant the seeds. We're going to put everything out there that we can. We're going to live in the flow. And then
you feel that way in this, don't you? I really do.
And that's how we're existing, even with this little show that we're doing here.
I know, it's exciting. Yeah, we're so excited. This has been amazing. I've loved doing this with you, and I love everyone's questions. And thank you guys for being so supportive and holding the space, and just being so in us. Yeah. things like that. So it's been so magical. I love it.
I'll ask you for engaging, asking good questions. And
really good questions, you guys. Great comments. Yeah. Thank you for being here. Sorry if we didn't get to all of your questions or your comments, but believe me, the gods and the goddesses and the entities and the saints all know. Now I'm going to go look up St. Clare.
I think you're going to be.
I love it.
St. Clare. She's the patron saint of.
Where is she from? Where did she live on the earth? And when was she alive?
Oh, shoot.
Okay, hang on a minute.
Hey, Siri. What information can you give me about St. Clare?
St. Clare is the patron saint of woodworkers, glassmakers, and spectacle makers. He is invoked as a healing saint for the eyes,
in
particular
wrong one.
to protect the eyes and cure eye diseases.
That's weird.
Wow.
St. Clare, I thought did you hear that?
Yeah, I did. But the weird thing is that they're for
Lucy came through, but okay, hold on here. St. Clare with an E.
Claire is a woman here.
Yeah.
And she's French.
That tracks.
Hang on, everybody. As we do our research, you notice we just hang on. Wow, she's connected to the eyes. Wait a minute.
That's weird. I thought. Huh?
Saint Clare typically refers to Saint Clare of Assisi, an Italian saint and one of the first followers of Saint Francis. Shut up. So you guys are doing, when did we do that first channeling when you brought through Saint Francis?
Saint Francis, that was when it wasn't this. It was just us doing a thing on channeling.
That's right. Okay. But listen to this, because she is known for founding the Order of the Poor Ladies. She is the patron saint of television and eye disease. She is, but then can you look up Lucy then? Like, who is Lucy? Because that's all part of it. So her feast day is August 11th.
Funny.
She was in 1253.
Yeah, Saint.
That's why we go down a rabbit hole.
Saint Lucy is of eyes and divine light. Hey,
they're both eyes, though.
Who's the patron saint of music? I keep getting dumb shit from. I'm not gonna look it up here. Hold on. Patron saint of music.
Did you go onto Wikipedia? Now we're in a rabbit hole. Welcome to our.
Oh, Saint Cecilia.
Oh.
Interesting. I honestly didn't know who was who.
Well, there you go.
I wonder why she came through talking about music, saying she was like a patron saint of music.
There's a connection somewhere.
Well, the fact that Claire and Lucy are the patron saints of the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
And then they worked with Francis, who came through.
Wow. And from Assisi. Okay, so I would probably look also on like Perplexity, because they give a lot of historical things that are very accurate.
I'm going to do a little more deep dive, because I find it weird that she would come through and say her name's Claire.
Yeah.
And music.
Well, the other thing, and this is not the same thing, but I thought about it for a moment. Because it's not the same thing. But my niece in the spirit world is named Clare, and she was a singer. But it wasn't her. I just thought of that when yeah. So no, this is her. And like, you should just say, what's the connection? What does she symbolize? television and computer screens. I love how these associations.
Okay, but yeah, like, and here we are.
Yeah. You know, here's the thing. Do they always have to stay in the borders in which people that we're researching? This is what it is with gods and goddesses and dates and deities and saints. They will give you what they're going to give you. It doesn't mean that just because someone got that in their gnosis doesn't mean that they're limited. This is what we have to do when we connect with a deity or a goddess or anything. We get what they're giving us. They can channel divine wisdom. So let's not limit them. That's the thing, is like, if you look at like Hecate, everyone's like, well, she's for the witches. What? She's for everybody.
Same with Caradwin.
Yeah, Caradwin, same. Like, why? Yes, there's some context to that, but maybe we need to also open up our consciousness and think more broadly, because we're going through then the lens of the human perception of what's been written. So you probably have to do some more divination around.
Interesting. Yeah, I wasn't even sure who.
Why is St. Clare the patron of screens? That's at really University of Portland right here. Let's see what they say. I was really feeling my eyes were bugging me, though, I can tell you. Did you notice that throughout the whole thing? Like later, my eyes were bugging. Then when I was doing raw, I was like getting something in my eye. I feel like I was connecting in with that.
What the hell is that noise? Either Matt's moving furniture or we're having a storm.
Oh my God. Well, maybe we should wrap up, because we could stay here for 3 hours and just shoot the shit.
I know. Well, let's wrap this up, and you and I can hang on for a second.
Hang out and talk. Thank you guys so much for being here. As you can see, a lot to unpack.
Because I'm super curious. Again, why would Claire come through?
I know.
And Lucy, but Claire would be talking about music.
She's also helping you work and teach online. That's something I'm reading right here in front.
All right. Well, we'll let them all go to bed. You and I can hang out.
Good night. Love you guys.
We'll see you next time. We have our cool ending.
Care.
Thank you all. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Ciao.
So we don't have a schedule yet. Not yet. Someone else has a schedule. I don't yet. Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna chat.
It'll be soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love
Bye,
you all.
everybody.
Okay. Here goes our outro.
Doodly doo doo.